All right. So, unfortunately, there is a little bit of background noise. Probably. I don't know if this mic picks it up or not, but my dishwasher is going, so that is in the background. But anyways, I saw that Delta Force is finally free to play, and like released. So I'm trying out Delta Force for the first time. I've been a Battlefield player since I was like 8 or 9, when my brother would be playing Battlefield 3, and he'd give me the controller while he was in the bathroom. I may or may not have used the Pennifer Aniston, so I may or may not be vibrating like a tuning fork mentally. Oh, cool. And he'd give me the controller while he was in the bathroom. I may or may not have used. Ew. Let me fix that mic. So I may or may not be vibrating like a tuning fork mentally. Oh, cool. And he'd give me the controller while he's in the bathroom. I may or may not have. Is this better? Let me fix that mic. Okay, it sounds way better now. Yeah, okay, this is better. Cool. Alright, hey, welcome to the stream. I was just saying that I may or may not have used the Pennifer Aniston. I was fixing my mic issues. Hopefully it sounds better now. Let me, real quick, I gotta turn off display capture just while I make this account. I'm just now opening this the first time, if you couldn't tell. Oh, I have to register. I see. Okay, country, USA. Sorry, this is gonna take just a second. Agree to all. I'm sorry, my mom texted me. All right, 5255. My verification code. Okay, there we go. Sorry about the black screen. Coolio. What is this? Oh, it's just their YouTube. Okay. Make sure everything's working still. Uh-oh. Camera issue. There we go. Man. The Pennifer's doing its job, dude. Oh. Oh. Okay. Cool. Running. Where did I put? Give me one moment. I'll be right back. You know what I'm gonna do? I was gonna make food anyways. Now I'm just making ramen. So I'm gonna go do that real quick. And we put something in chat in case someone joins. eat while I sit here. We can watch some YouTube together while I make my food. So give me just a couple minutes. I'll be back.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? For First Week Feast, I'm Sean Evans, and you're watching Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions, even hotter wings. And today we're joined by Shane Gillis. He's a stand-up comedian whose latest special, Beautiful Dogs, is currently streaming on Netflix. Check out Matt and Shane's secret podcast wherever you listen. And he has a brand new comedy series, Tires, which is likely to be streaming on Netflix. And breaking news, just got word, a second season already picked up. Congratulations on that, Shane, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You strike me as a guy who can throw down on some wings. How are you down on hot sauce?
I can definitely throw down some wings, but I don't think I'm gonna do great. And I'm truly nervous. I don't know why I did this. Didn't do great.
Well, there's no turning back now, Shane. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah. Okay. It's great. I told you.
Nothing to worry about, Shane. Nothing to worry
I've
about.
seen the show. I know where this goes. That's good.
What makes tire shops funny, or at least a setting that can hold the full weight of a workplace comedy?
What makes a tire shop funny? It's just, I worked in a tire shop in Philly for a little, and, it's just crazy. Working together, dudes that are nuts every day, like physical fights. It's great.
It's kind of amazing that you were able to make this show with a close-knit group of longtime collaborators. How much of Tires is scripted beat by beat, and then how much of it is, you know, you and your buddies screwing around on camera to find the comedy?
So that's what McKeever does really well is we have a script, we have a full script every time, and then we always get the lines that we need to for the story, and then we get to fuck around for as long as we want until we're done. Like he'll literally just be like, all right, go, you got anything else? It's like, nah, I think I'm done. Then we'll keep it. I feel great.
Look at those mechanics, yeah. Giving them a rip.
Thanks, man.
I'm currently making ramen. It's still boiling. Once I make it, I'll bring it over, set my camera back up, we'll react to some YouTube together while I eat baked off my booty.
So, you know, almost every comedy special begins with a vignette to set the tone, and that can range from a comedian heroically walking through the city or pensively smoking a cigarette backstage in black and white. Obviously, there's not a ton to do with that space, but every comedian does seem to expend at least a little creative energy on it.
Yeah.
Do you think that stuff is important?
Not at all. No, I gotta get annoyed. Just walk on stage. That's what I do.
What's the internal calculus like for naming a comedy
She's like,
shows.
you're gonna love it. I was like, you fucking do it. She was like, I'll never do it.
Well, you know what? Yeah, we have extra wings. You know, sometimes. Oh, that was a
She has
light
to.
bulb moment for you.
She's going to.
So in a recent profile from the New Yorker, there was a mention of U.S. history memorabilia hanging from the walls of your apartment.
Yeah.
Of the commemoratives that you own, is there one that you describe as your holy grail?
Yeah, but Nazi now. That's funny. No one else did. I have a painting of it's called the Absolution of Gettysburg. It's pretty sick. It's Father Corby. He was the Irish Brigade's chaplain, and he's giving them a fucking goodbye before they all die. It's pretty nice.
Inspiring to you, or what is it? What is it?
Yeah, when I'm playing video games, like, oh man, those guys, they went hard. It's not that. I can do this one.
Got some smokiness to them. You can do them all so far. Shane.
But I know it's coming.
Don't set yourself out. Just take your wins as you get them over here. You know. Is there a type of room or audience that you would describe as your comedy nightmare?
Now I do shows, sometimes the crowd's too rowdy. There's dudes that are like the whole time. And that gets a little like, Bakersfield, California was probably the worst show I've had.
What happened in Bakersfield?
It was just like dudes that worked on oil rigs that showed up and were just screaming, they were hammered, screaming the whole time. My buddy went on stage first, hosting, and before he got a word out, someone was like, where the fuck's Shane? It's like, oh no, it's gonna be a nightmare. Yeah, it's a play on Jared now.
Yeah.
The evil dictator that killed millions of Chinese people.
Yeah, but this is like a fun cartoon cat, all right, Shane?
What's the next house I was fucking?
So, you know, as a football fan, you hear all kinds of stories about offensive linemen being disgusting. Like Broncos guard Mark Schlereth getting
Yeah.
that nickname Stink because he used to piss his pads during games. What's like the most disgusting thing you've ever experienced in the trenches?
I was not a college athlete. I played one season and quit.
That's all right, that counts.
Yeah.
You can check that box.
Guys would throw up. A lot of people. People would piss their pants, yeah. My friends would shit their pants at practice.
Have you at all gotten swept up into the like WNBA hype that's going on right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. I love it. WNBA, you kidding me? Can't get enough. It's fucking high flying action. No, I have not. Well, good luck. I'm doing it. Fully parked out.
Yeah. This is where the game changes.
I can tell.
So you're skeptical. You're going back in.
What's the worst thing that's happened to somebody on this show?
Well,
Someone puked before?
not on set, or at least that I know about. One time I almost choked to death on set.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with John Bernthal sitting across from me. That's awesome. I took like a piece of chicken, you know, like said something, I did a little laugh, and I breathed in just a little bit, and I felt this piece of chicken like vacuum
Oh, no.
seal in my throat. It goes from like this jovial kind of talk show vibe to people slowly realizing there might be a problem. And then I remember my own internal dialogue being like, how sad a parable is this? You know what I mean? Like the
That'd be
chicken
really
talk
bad.
show host goes out on his shield on the show on the first wing. So
If you put it that way, that's actually,
it's kind of awesome.
that is how you should die. I have a feeling I might die by choking on a chicken liver.
No, I
It's
made that
real
mistake.
chicken.
I made that mistake so you don't have to, Shane.
That one's hot. It hurts already. Oh, sorry. Who is this shit for, though?
Right, like,
Who's
what
sitting
psycho
down
is eating this? Right.
Yeah. Conan, I watched Conan rub it all over his fucking face.
Committing to the bit.
Committed to that bit. It's a bad bit to choose. That's a crazy bit.
Well, you know what? On the topic of Conan, you know, you did a 6.5-hour-long marathon podcast breaking down every single president. We asked Conan this question, but I'm curious your response. Like, do you have an all-time favorite mediocre president?
I think they say Ulysses S. Grant was not a good president, but He's my favorite. He failed at the beginning and then became a general. It's pretty sick. He was kind of a loser. He got in trouble for being drunk. He worked for like his father-in-law's drugstore. He was like a clerk when the Civil War broke out. And by the end of it, he was commanding the entire
Damn.
Northern Army. Yeah, he was a beast.
Who's the most physically attractive U.S. president, to be honest?
Obama was a handsome guy.
There's no
Even
denying.
young W was kind of handsome. He was charming. Kind of half-wit way.
So how would you describe a chicken to someone who has never tasted it? Literally melt in your mouth tender. We don't have a razor. You know, it's almost like a farmer's market. When you walk into the restaurant, you should hear the sizzle that you're hearing right now. It sends all those flavors up to your mouth. You're making me hungry.
This one's called The Bomb Beyond Insanity.
That wry smile tells me that you recognize immediately.
That's it hurts. Yeah, this is awesome. Straight in. My favorite things.
I know. But all these years later, it gets no easier.
It's getting worse.
I know. I'll be honest with you, it's not going to stop here.
There's snow in the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like mass death. It's hot sauce.
Yeah, hot sauce marketing is a little weird that way. You know, there's a lot of like leaning into hell. There's a lot of leaning into violence. You know, there's a lot of rage over here.
Yeah, that's funny. The market too is like pirates. Pirates hot sauce.
Off the top of your head, without thinking about it too much, what's your Mount Rushmore of gas station snacks? You know, I feel like convenience really are like the ultimate arbiters of food.
Lately, I'm just looking at fucking like beef jerky, sunflower seeds, good ranch, sunflower seeds.
That's two.
Cool Ranch Doritos are pretty good. Oh, man. Every once in a while, you can see some Dunkaroos in there.
Hell
Pretty
yeah,
excited.
bring it back.
Dude, we have more milk.
Yeah, we have a whole other pitcher before you go for it. But I will say, Shane, be careful, because sometimes like a milk problem in this context can be worse than a hot sauce problem.
Yeah, just drinking too much milk.
It's just the dairy, the hot sauce, the chemistry, the mixture. You know, even without the hot sauce, like if you just try to crush milk, you can end up with problems. You know.
Crush milk.
Go ahead,
I'm just.
break the seal. You can go straight out. That's yours.
This one's heavens up. Fuck, dude.
The bomb kind of clears the pain.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's hard to follow that kind of bad.
I took a pretty small one.
Sorry, no shame in that. No shame in that, Shane. But still surviving over here. What stands out in your memory is the funniest prank phone call you've ever pulled off successfully?
I was in college and we thought it'd be funny to call my parents and tell them I got arrested with drugs in North Carolina. And they screamed. They were very angry. And then I finally got a hold. I think I might have forgotten till the next day. They were like, oh shit, you gotta call them. I don't know. That was all. I haven't thought of that forever, so I might have just made that whole story up.
Well, there's no way to know.
All right, I'm getting the last of my food prep done, and then I'll be here.
I'm scared. There you go. Fuck. There's one.
It's alright. We
Did
take
you
our
take a big
breaks.
bite?
Of course. That's how we roll. Closing it out.
Alright.
Let's go.
I mean, I'm happy to be here for real, but you're great. I'm sorry. Alright.
All right, let me get my camera up and running again, and then we'll get some YouTube pulled up to watch while I eat my grub. It'll be good. Let me pull up the stream.
Camera up and running.
Yeah, wait just a second here. Okay. Okay. We're good. Let's see here. Oh yeah, it's still going on. Let's watch this, yeah. Maybe. No. Let's watch some Jeremy
They've got a
Wade.
comprehensive plan to outwit the supersensory capacity of this shark. Bull sharks, like all sharks, have tiny pinholes on their snout called the ampullae of Lorenzini, used for detecting electrical fields. They're so sensitive that they can detect the electrical impulses of a fish's heartbeat. Sharks with wider heads, like the bull shark, have more of these pinholes, and therefore they can lock onto prey more accurately.
Another one there?
To avoid giving off any electrical signals to the shark, Terry masks all but the metal hook point in plastic and cable ties this to the eel.
Beautiful.
Next, Terry's making sure he capitalizes on the shark's smell sense by using fresh bait. 2/3 of this shark's brain is devoted to sniffing out prey. And by fishing at night, we're choosing the most likely time for sharks to go hunting. It's in the dark when the supersensory bull shark has the edge over fish that rely more on vision. Terry begins the journey across the river mouth to place the baits. Bull sharks have been reported to ram kayaks, taking the paddle splash and rudder movements for the thrashing of a fish in distress. Terry's okay, but in getting these baits set in the dark, I've injured my index finger. It's going to make things difficult. I'm just hoping that this and the disturbance from the busy port doesn't damage my chances.
I've always wondered that. Like, I understand how wake might affect them, depending on how deep they are. The weight from the boat. They have to be pretty close to the surface. But I've always wondered what the rudders, like the propellers, how it affects them, because that's much deeper in the water. Even if it's like a small boat, like a bass boat, it's still going to be deeper in the water than just you going across the surface in the waves. And also on the big boats, way deeper, and it's larger. So I've always wondered how that affects them. And he's saying that in this case, it might be the reason they scare off.
Pick it up, pick it up.
At 2:30 a.m.,
Fish, aren't they?
with the tide high, the line begins to run.
In the heart. No, off. It's all right. Yep. Shuffling down. At the moment, it just feels like there's a boat on the end. It's just a dead weight. I'm just changing the ratio there. Yeah. Yeah, that's pulling, that's pulling, that's pulling. It is coming my way.
And with nearly 200 yards of line taken in, whatever it is reaches the shore.
What is it?
That is huge! One of the best fish I've ever seen, mate.
This monster is not what I expected to catch.
Right, to me, James, it's not a shark, but it is an exceptional fish.
It's just remarkable.
That is something, isn't it? Oh, I've never seen anything like this in my life
It's a
before.
huge grouper.
It's what they call a Queensland groper. This is a monster. I mean, it's not the monster I was after, but this is a monster.
Look at it. 6 feet and 3 inches.
What about the girth?
Yeah.
2'1". Its girth is 4 foot 3 inches. 4 foot 3 inches.
This is a protected marine fish, normally found on reefs, but they're known to come into river mouths like this on rare occasions.
Look at that. This fish, even Terry and Ben haven't seen anything like this anywhere like this size, you know, so just an amazing catch, and particularly.
I would never expect them to go in river mouths because they're always seen either in reefs or on structure, sometimes around docks, not usually though, but always the structure.
Particularly from a river, just you know, this thing really is a river monster.
Groupers have an extraordinary trick. This 250-pound male actually started life as a female. When there are too few males in a spawning group, a female will switch sex to keep breeding numbers up.
Ooh.
Time, though, for this gender bender to head back home.
To me, that just underlines even more than before that, you know, we just have no idea at all what is down there in our rivers.
I'm sure I could spend a lifetime learning more and more about the Arapaima and the creatures that share its mysterious world. But it's now time to put all I have gathered into practice.
This is actually a place where the tribespeople around here used to come before a big battle. To focus the mind, prepare themselves mentally beforehand. And I guess as I'm likely to need all the help that I can get, you know, it's not a bad idea for me to just spend a few minutes here as well.
I know that if I'm going to be successful, I need to understand and respect
Be
a
right
fish
back.
that, for the local tribes, is the
see.
incarnation of a warrior. Mentally and physically prepared, it's game on. It's just me, my guide Johnny, and out there somewhere, a very big fish.
I'm putting into practice the things I've learned, not just from the fishing captivity, but also the whole business about locating the fish, spotting them, patience, you know, gradually working close so that you're in a position of getting one on the line.
With the water so low in this lake, oxygen levels are depleted. The Arapaima's air-breathing physiology is both its strength and its weakness. It came into existence millions of years before there were hunters like me around, scanning the water surface for that telltale clue.
There's some bubbles actually just coming up in the middle, more or less where my bait is, and that is very likely to be an Arapaima down there on the bottom, grubbing around in the mud. It's very close to my bait. Something took it, but then let go. Oi. That's a fish on.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's a sizable old tambaki. Hey, strong fish. Oh, tambaki. Big old tambaki.
This tambaki is not the fish I'm after, but it's still quite a catch.
Yeah, it is.
This is a relative of the piranha, but instead of having huge incisors, it's got these enormous grinding teeth on the jaw. The
Don't wanna
closest
lip
thing in
it.
nature to the teeth of a tambaki is the teeth of a horse. Normally, you know, this thing feeds on a diet of pure sort of Brazil nuts and other seeds. Very, very good flesh, very prized for its eating, but also really, really strong. One of the most powerful fish, pound for pound, that there is anywhere.
That'd be awesome. Catch.
Still lots of energy left in it. Good to see it go back.
Make hell of fillets.
In all my years of fishing, this could be the most unspoilt and remote river that I've ever fished.
Take a look at it.
The mighty Corentin River is 450 miles long and Suriname's largest. For most of its length, it is completely uninhabited and rarely explored.
That'd be so much
The
fun to
river is
kayak down.
punctuated by frequent crushing rapids and deep, turbulent pools. There are vast granite boulders everywhere, some just under the water, others creating waterfalls. There are so many different fishing holes that I take every opportunity to get a bait or lure in the river, to cover as much water as I can. Different types of fish prefer different parts of the river.
Yeah.
Having never hunted for wolffish here, I need to explore every likely fishing spot to see if I can discover the monster's lair.
Surely there's research on them. Almost every fish there is.
I'm using my short baitcaster rod for accuracy to get my eye in. Although it looks lightweight, this beauty with its strong braided line is capable of landing fish over 100 pounds.
Anyone like that?
But there are more than just wolffish here. The Corentin is also home to the red-eyed piranha, one of the largest of its kind. This river really is the best place to compare these two toothy South American monsters.
That's a fish on. Fish on. Hey, fish off. Ah.
Suddenly, I'm getting action every cast.
Holy.
When you get these things in, they are just so well hooked, and yet sometimes you hook one and somehow it just manages to get rid of the hooks. That was quite dramatic though. Short, but very, very dramatic.
Awesome.
That's one on, that's
I've
one
never
on.
caught something topwater. I've always
See
wanted
if I
to
can
see
keep
that
this one on.
splash.
But is this a wolffish?
Always wanted to see that.
Haven't seen the fish yet.
Flashes or strikes. I've never gotten topwater, other than trout.
That is a piranha in the back. Foul hooked always feels bigger.
It's trout. I mean, obviously are cool, but I want to see. I've always wanted to topwater catch bass.
Monster piranha. That is black in colour.
I've always wanted to catch bass.
Just by looking at one, you can understand the piranha's reputation. But I've done experiments using myself as a guinea pig, and I've concluded that they're only dangerous to people in extreme circumstances. For piranhas, the mob rules. It's death by 1,000 cuts, and for that, they have no equal. But I'm comparing wolffish with piranhas one against one, and having now seen the piranhas they have to compete with, I'm even more wary about meeting a wolffish. Although I know there are piranhas around, I need to cover as much water as possible, even if it means wading. As a rule, I want to get a fish in as quickly as possible.
Yep. Good sized fish.
This ensures that when I release it, it still has plenty of energy, so it can recover more quickly. But this is not a wolffish.
So they got bass.
It's called a peacock bass.
Peacock bass, yeah.
Lovely fish that. And the reason it's called a peacock bass, in English anyway, is that eye spot on the tail. And if they're lying in the water with their heads down like that, that really does look like an eye, and any predatory bird could easily mistake that for an eye. It really is very effective when this is underwater. Big mouth, predatory cichlid this, but lovely fish. I don't want to have it out too long. I'll just admire it for a minute or
Looks
two.
like a bump on its head.
Right. There you go. Come on, set it, set it, set it. Yes, yes. I think that could be a fish there.
Jeremy,
Hard to say
he's telling Jeremy Wade, set it, dude.
at the moment, yeah. Yeah, it's a fish.
You got a lot of line out there,
It
boss.
feels quite strange though, whatever it is.
A turtle.
It's a turtle, damn.
Nice big soft-shell turtle.
Spiny soft-shelled turtles like this will often eat frogs and snails, but they're just as happy with a bit of dead fish.
It did feel strange on the way in.
Nose.
That thing was taking the bait all over the river. There's a chunk of fish about half the size of this turtle, and it's sort of made off with it. You can hear it hissing there. It's a bit annoyed with us, but I'm a bit annoyed with him, actually. Leave the bait
You and
alone.
me both.
Leave the bait alone. Yeah. Anyway. It's action, but not quite the action we wanted. Oops. Well, that was a lot of work getting that in, and not what we wanted, but we've still got time for some fish action, possibly.
Lieutenant Reynolds never did catch the entrepreneur who dropped the bullseye snakehead into Florida. And since it first turned up in 2000, the invader has continued to spread inland. I'm now at the very edge of the canal network, where it borders on the Everglades National Park. Could snakeheads have come this far?
You laying it right on top of something there.
Actually hit it, that's a peacock, wasn't it? So this is a snakehead, that would be it, but this is a peacock bass, territorial. Yeah.
The peacock bass is also a non-native predator, but it was brought in officially as a biological control to eat invasive species like tilapia. Its intolerance to cold water prevents it from spreading.
This is another fish that is a long way away from home. This one is a native of the Amazon. This is a peacock bass, what they call a butterfly peacock bass. It's one of the, it's the smaller variety of those. Definitely a predator, big mouth, but not as toothy as the snakehead, but very capacious mouth there. And one thing that's interesting about this, it's also got an eye spot. I mean, that's why they call this the peacock bass. So it's similar in that respect to the snakehead. But one noticeable difference between this and the snakehead is the body shape. This one is flattened that way, laterally. If this was to fall on the ground and kick, it would just sort of flop around in the same position. The snakehead is flattened that way. If that falls on the ground and flaps around, it's actually going to move. The snakehead can wriggle its way overland and then find a new home, and that's why they're worried about them here.
But it's not just creatures in the water I have to look out for. The weather is extreme and can turn in a matter of minutes.
Bit of a storm can sometimes get the fish stirred up, get them feeding. But actually, looking at all the lightning, I'm not really sure that holding a conducting rod up in the air in the middle of this is a very good idea. So if they don't feed, if nothing hangs on the end, it's actually not going to be too much of a disappointment.
Storms in this part of the world are sudden and brutal. In 2008, 18 fishermen drowned when their boat capsized in a storm just a few hours away from here. So I decide to bring in my line.
We actually got torn away from our mooring on the bank. Soaked.
If we're not careful, we could become the next deathly statistic. But as quickly as it started, the storm stops. I'm just hoping it hasn't ruined my chances.
The trouble with rain is if it's heavy, you just get all this rubbish coming off the land and colouring the water. And if you're fishing for a sight predator like the Nile perch, you can forget it. Luckily, I've got a little bit of a clear patch here next to the bank, but it's actually colouring up as I speak. If more runoff comes from the land, or if it rains more, it could just put an end to the fishing for me.
Could this be the catch that proves truly giant Nile perch are still out there?
That is definitely a fish. The trouble is over there. There's a big storm coming in with lightning coming down.
The storm seems to have swung back around, and this is exactly what I didn't want. My carbon fibre rod in the air like a lightning conductor as the wind picks up. An incredible 10,000 people are killed by lightning strikes worldwide every year, and Uganda is known for having the highest frequency of thunderstorms anywhere in the world.
That's a catfish. It looks to be quite a good-sized catfish.
I've got to land this fish before the storm returns.
Wow. Pretty boy.
That's actually, okay, it's after a Nile perch, but that's a nice-sized catfish.
Yeah, it is.
This one is a Sematundu catfish, and well, it's missing a bit of its tentacle here, but I mean, totally different from the Nile perch. Long body shape. I mean, it's a predator as well. You can see the muscle blocks here very clearly on the side. Catfish are right at home in the muddy water with their strong sense of smell and ability to sense movement in the murk. It's probably not much of a surprise I caught one of these rather than a Nile perch. Right, get this back in the water very quickly and then I think we've got to run for it. Oh. I don't want to be caught in another lethal storm, and besides, this river is rapidly turning to mud. There's no way I'll be catching a sight feeder like the Nile perch for at least a few days. The river's got a very different character to it today. There's this wind blowing upstream, and what that does, it's creating these standing waves here about 3 foot high. It actually turns it into quite an intimidating place. Ah, piranha. Something's had a bit of that. Oh, something's moving down there. Again, I'm forced to scale down my gear in the hope that I can get the bait past the piranhas to where the rays lurk. Just actually changing the leader. Actually, a ray with its tail flailing around. It's a bit like somebody coming at you with that. And that, well, you know, that could do a lot of damage. And in fact, you know, that is why I'll need to be wearing some of these. These are basically stab-proof, almost bulletproof as well. But that will give me a degree of protection because, yeah, it's going to be a knife fight, basically. Right, I just cast the bait out and there was instantly something on the bait. But it just felt like piranhas. It was like that kind of thing. Whereas what I actually want is something that just goes.
Such a goober. I love him.
Feels like a piranha. But the Paraná River is full of surprises. Ah, it's a different kind of catfish. This looks like a new species for me, although it's very similar to one I've caught in the Amazon. Yeah, there we go. That's a different fish. And again, it's just another fish that is going to, you know, polish off my bait. You know, it really is a problem, actually, just having a bait down there that's going to survive long enough for the stingray, which is very much the top predator, will come along and find it. Out of the corner of my eye, I'm aware of a more sinister predator. For a saltwater crocodile, humans as well as crabs are fair game. This wouldn't be a good place to fall in. This time, I'm hooked into something meaty. It's only day one, but I wonder if I'm about to get lucky. That's actually running. Back a little, back. Oh, here we go. Coming up.
What is it?
Just when I think it's in, the fish kicks off again, and I grab my rod back for round 2. Okay, hold there.
What is it?
I'm going to take this easy because I can't get a positive ID in the water. It's very muddy water. Oh, it's a shark. This estuary is just full of predators.
bull shark. I keep well clear of its mouth. Even a 5-foot juvenile could bite my hand off. The adults can reach 13 feet and probably kill more people than any other shark. This is one of the few sea dwellers which, like sawfish, can swim up rivers.
Well, that was a bit of drama. I'm glad we got that in. It's always exciting to get a fish like that in on light tackle. But a bit of disappointment. That's not the fish that I'm after. I'm after something that looks actually quite similar to that. So I've got it all to do again. Next time the line goes, I want it to be a sawfish and a bull shark.
I've been granted special permission to try and catch the critically endangered sawfish. This puts me in a truly privileged position. Yet in such a vast area, there's no guarantee I'll even find one.
Hundreds of square miles of open water. It is ridiculous.
The warm, shallow water at the mouth of the Fitzroy is prime sawfish habitat. 20 years ago, a local fisherman snagged an 18-footer not far from here.
18-foot sawfish? Insane.
Pretty lively. Yeah, that's something.
Just grilling, when he's grilling before he sets it, is that just that much slack out there, or is it like something different? Like he reels it up to where he knows it's taut in the mouth completely, and then so I just can't tell. It's weird. Oh my gosh, a crab.
If I hadn't seen what was responsible for that, I might be getting quite excited now. I might be thinking that's something toothy, but that's crab claw marks. Everything is hungry down here.
I've been trawling this river now for 10 days straight, and I'm beginning to think that the only giant ray I'm going to see is the one hanging on the riverbank. So I'm fishing all the hours I can to maximize my chances. As yet another day turns to dusk, I have to be patient. Then I get a take that seems different from the others so far.
Look at that. So, this is a Dorado. Oi.
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 That's such a real response.
It's got some teeth there. It's a serious predator. And, well, one of many predators in the water here, and this is just one of the things that's beating the stingrays to the bait.
This is the game fish that most anglers come here to catch.
I'm just putting that back. That's not what I want. I want this sort of sluggish thing that skulks on the bottom. Most of my brother anglers would be the other way around.
All I can realistically do is put a bait in the water and hope an electric eel takes it before something else does.
I thought he was fishing for rays.
There's loads of predators in these waters.
Oh, he's in a different place now.
You know, I've got a bait on the bottom here, but you know, there's lots of other species that could pick it up. You know, there's no way really to single out the electric eel. I know I'm doing the right thing to catch one, but something else could beat it to the bait.
Because I don't want to get a nasty shock when I catch an electric eel, I'm taking some precautions. The nylon line I'm using won't conduct electricity, so I'll be safe while bringing it in. Then, once I get it to the boat, I have a thick pair of rubber boots and gloves, which means I'll be able to handle it without getting shocked.
The hippo?
We've attracted a pod of Amazon River dolphins.
Neat.
You might think that they're going to take a nice tasty dead fish, but actually they have this echolocation ability, which is a bit like X-ray vision, and they know that there's a hook there and they won't take it.
But there's something big down there that hasn't sensed the hook.
Good size fish, good size fish.
Is this the electric eel I've been looking for? Whatever it is, it's putting up a powerful fight.
I don't think this is an electric eel. It's too strong.
The back 4/5 of an electric eel's body is mostly used to produce electricity. It doesn't have the muscle to put up a struggle like this.
Oh yeah, yeah, see the bubbles coming up.
20
That's
foot.
a big red-tailed
Oh.
catfish, big red-tailed
Holy.
catfish.
That is beautiful.
Out of the water, it gulps in air, blowing it out through its gill flaps.
Got it, got it, got it, got it. This is what they call a pirarara here, which is, well, in English we call it red-tailed catfish, very, very obvious reason. And, I mean, just a wonderful coloration it's got as well.
Yes.
Dark back, this very clear line between the dark and the light. This mottling of brown spots as well. Very strong fish, but it tends to not have the stamina. But, I mean, another thing to remark about this fish, it's about a third of the body is head, huge head. Very capacious mouth. It's got loads of small
Just a
teeth, so
crazy
that's really just for gripping. If it
noise
gets a fish that it
knocking on its
can't
head.
totally inhale all at once, oops, with the muscular jaw and those teeth, you know, it's not going to get away. Look at this. This river is just full of predators. There's a big chunk of fin missing there.
I get the fish back in the water so it can recover before I let it go.
But this proves my point, what I was saying earlier on. You throw a bit of dead fish in this river and there's anything that could take it. You know, it could be an electric eel, that's what I was hoping for. But, you know, it could just as likely be one of these red-tailed catfish.
That was a great catch, but unfortunately it's not the fish I'm after. This bear is clearly not afraid of us, and that's a problem.
Should we just break it off?
Okay, that's it.
This is bear country, and they depend on the salmon run for food, so I'll be in direct competition with them for the best fishing spots. We're only about 65 miles from where self-styled grizzly expert Timothy Treadwell and his girlfriend were eaten alive by a hungry grizzly.
So is this the place where you saw the bear from the plane?
It is, yes. You can see there's a very regular bear trail where they're coming and going from the river. If a bear comes close to us, we'll stand side by side and we'll try to look big just like they do. And then typically they'll just move around you and then move off. If a bear's trying to fish in an area, though, the last thing we want to do is for that bear to think that we want the fishing hole and we expect for it to move. So if they want it, we'll let them have it.
Okay.
Carrying a gun at all times is common practice in the Alaskan wilderness. And in case a bear does
Probably
attack,
right back.
my pilot Glenn Ellsworth Jr. is carrying a .50 caliber handgun. The bears may have already found a good fishing spot.
Just literally, I don't know, sort of 15 feet from where I'm standing, there's been a steady procession of fish through, working their way upstream. And there's also some big dark groups holding as well further down. So I'm quite looking forward to getting a line in the water.
Some Oreos and milk real quick.
There are no bears in sight, so it seems safe to try and catch my first salmon.
What you're doing is you're casting out, you've got a lump of lead here, and you flick it 45 degrees upstream. It comes down, and the fish are all facing upstream. And the idea is that they've got their mouths open. It just gets in their mouth, that panics them, they run. And as they run, that ends up in the mouth. So it feels like a strike, but and that will be in the mouth, probably like that. But then they're not actually going for it. That's the theory. I'm going to see if I can put that into practice.
Time to try and get my first salmon.
Well, there you go. You got it.
Ah, we got. Actually hooked one. That was a bit of a surprise. I was The line just was ticking down, and they haven't really spooked off too far. Just ticking down, it just stopped, and I think I was a bit too surprised. I just pulled. I should have sort of actually tried to set the hook a bit more on that one.
With this many salmon around, it's not long before the bears start returning to their fishing spot.
Here's a bear just coming out of the brush on the far side.
Whereabouts is it, Glenn?
He's just looking out of the brush, watching for salmon.
Oh, yeah. And that, I mean, that's a very definite fisherman's posture, isn't it? Even though it's a,
Yeah, you can tell he's ready to pounce down in
Yeah.
the water.
Within minutes, 3 large grizzlies have surrounded us. Our day on the river
There's a
has
grizzly.
suddenly become dangerous.
Holy.
Oh, this is absolutely typical. You find a good spot, somebody else comes in, tries to LB you out. But I think in this case, I'm going to make a graceful retreat.
A graceful retreat.
He may turn back towards us too, because there's fish between us and the bear. And definitely a good time to keep talking, keep making noise. That way, if he has his nose down under the water, he can still hear us and doesn't end up, popping out of the water right close to us and having to make a decision about how it's going to react.
With the bears this close, I can pick up some fishing tips.
I think it needs a bit of practice. It's almost on a level with my early fly fishing attempts, I think.
Yeah, they wait till there's a bunch of fish congregated right underneath them, and then just jump right on top of them that way.
Because I guess, I mean, a bit like a human fisherman, if there's lots of fish there, even if you're a bit inept, you're still going to get something.
Yeah.
Once they've moved off a bit, I can carry on trying to catch my first salmon. But these grizzlies are putting me to shame.
Ah! Ah! Fantastic to see these bears close up. I wasn't really expecting that. You can see they're semi-aquatic, but I don't think this is the lake monster, but I think you could call it, in some ways, a bit of a river monster. Here we go.
Believe it or not, this is the first salmon I've ever had on the end of my line. This is a fish that can swim hundreds of miles up these fast-flowing rivers to get to its spawning grounds, so it can put up a strong fight.
Right, fish has done me a favour. It actually has turned off the main flow.
But it's beautiful.
I'm so engrossed with catching a salmon, at first I don't notice our interested onlooker.
Out of the water, out of the water. Right, it's coming. Okay. Right, I think we're going to break the fish off. I think it... Oh! No. Hey, does he want the fish?
This bear is clearly not afraid of us, and that's a problem.
Should we just break it off? No. We're going to break the... No, we're just going to break the fish off.
This is a young grizzly, but although not fully grown, it could still attack and kill any one of us.
You can have the fish.
Luckily, it's more interested in the salmon than us.
Dude.
It took my fish, and a minute later, it's back for more. This time, we need to fire a warning shot.
I am going to fire away.
Oh.
He's getting too pushy.
Whoa! No!
You guys, plug your ears.
Just deep breaths, just calm down. It's all part of the day in the life of a fisherman in this part of the world.
Where is he?
Even after a warning shot, the bear won't leave. So it's best that my film crew and I get out.
Be careful, there is that one deeper hole.
I didn't quite succeed in landing my first salmon, but it's clear that they are a vital food source to the whole area.
Well, yeah.
With millions of salmon coming in every year and fish like pike in these waters year-round, I'm convinced that there is enough food to sustain the monster I've been hearing about. My mission is to prove whether the Arapaima deserves a place alongside the Amazon's undisputed freshwater killers. And as I go deeper into the heart of the Amazon in search of this fish, I encounter the other creatures that come with this increasingly dangerous territory. Fishermen that hunt the Arapaima fish here in the Amazon regularly expose themselves to river monsters that have no need to prove their deadly nature. I've heard a tale of a killer caiman in these waters, so I head out after dark to see if I can find it. But it seems like I'm the one being watched. There are eyes following my every move.
I'm out at night hunting caiman. There's one in these waters apparently that is absolutely man-eating size. They say it is close to 20 foot.
Caiman's eyes reflect my flashlight, making them easy to spot.
Oh, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one.
Maybe I can grab a small one to have a closer look.
Too fast, too fast.
Okay, finally. Back for real this time.
Yes!
Oh, shoot. Oh, I made a boot. I forgot you can't watch YouTube videos for that long. Did that just end my stream? Okay, wait. So stream still should be going, right? Oh, man. Stream's still not. Man. Man, what the hell?